Hello and thank you for joining us on Nationwide on the NTA. I am Ifoma Ojinta. President Muhammadu Buhari will depart for London, United Kingdom later today to join other world leaders invited to attend the coronation of Charles III and his wife Camilla as His Majesty the King and Her Majesty the Queen Consort of the United Kingdom respectively. Special Advisor to the President on Media and Publicity, Femi Adesina, says ahead of the coronation, the Commonwealth Secretariat will take advantage of the gathering of leaders in London to host a Commonwealth Summit for presidents and heads of government of Commonwealth countries. President Buhari is billed to participate in the summit, which will deliberate on the future of the Commonwealth and the role of the youth. The President will be accompanied by some government officials. In the meantime, President Muhammadu Buhari formally unveiled and launched the next long-term development plan for Nigeria, the Nigeria Agenda 2050 for implementation. The launch of the document took place on the sideline of the Federal Executive Council meeting at the Presidential Villa, Abuja. State House correspondent Jide Onifade reports.
This note, Your Excellencies, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, it is now my honor and privilege to formally unveil and launch the next long-term development plan for Nigeria, the Nigeria Agenda 2050 for implementation. And God bless the Federal Republic of Nigeria.
President Muhammadu Buhari says the unveiling and public presentation of the Nigeria Agenda 2050 marks yet another milestone in the annals of history of the nation's planning experience post-independence.
It has also shown our administration's commitment to planning and plan implementation since we assumed office on May 29, 2015. The plan we are launching today has a vision of a dynamic, industrialized, and knowledge-based economy that generates inclusive and sustainable development for the country.
The President, on December 22, 2021, launched the first National Development Plan 2021 to 2025 that would be used to implement the long-term plan. Council on March 15, 2023, approved the Nigeria Agenda 2050 that is being launched now by the President.
The broad target is to ensure that Nigeria attains a per capita GDP of $33,328 United States dollars per annum that will place her among the top middle-income economies in the world by 2050.
The President applauds the steering committee led by the Minister of Finance, Budget and National Planning, Zainab Ahmed, for delivering on the important national assignment. He is confident that given the measures already in place for continuous implementation, successive administrations will find the document useful in the delivery of electoral promises. In the State House, Jide Onifade, NTA News.
And reports just reaching us says 350 evacuees out of the 499 are now on their way from Akil border in Egypt, crossing to Aswan Airport for departure to Abuja. Nigerian ambassador to Egypt, Nura Abarimi, said Egypt evacuees will travel aboard Air Force plane C-130, while 270 will be coming to Nigeria aboard Air Peace Airline. The remaining 144 evacuees who came to Egypt through Akil land border are expected to be merged with evacuees from Wadi Haifa, who will be airlifted home by Azman Airlines later in the day. The first set of evacuees are expected in the country as from 3 p.m. local time. The warring parties had earlier agreed to a 7-day ceasefire scheduled to begin from 4th to 11th May 2023. Representatives of the United Nations, the African Union, and the Intergovernmental Authority on Development have met to discuss peaceful solutions to the conflict in Sudan, repeating calls for an immediate ceasefire opening a humanitarian corridor and offering aid to people in need. Adebola Brooksland Sunday reports.
The continuing situation in Sudan is engaging the attention of leaders around the world, especially those of the United Nations and the African Union, who are keen on finding a resolution as soon as possible. The African Union Commission Chairperson Moussa Faki Mahamat at the union's headquarters in Addis Ababa said the union is persuading the warring factions in Sudan on the need for a total ceasefire.
We also naturally discuss political issues, particularly on the crisis. The trilateral organizations have continued to work with the parties for advancing the ceasefire and opening the humanitarian corridors.
UN Deputy Secretary General Amina Mohammed said the United Nations is fully behind the African Union's proposal.
It is incredibly important that we are behind an African solution to this catastrophe in Sudan. We need a cessation of the hostilities. We also need to address the humanitarian needs that are needed in Khartoum, in the rest of Sudan, and get back onto that track of a process that is back to a democratic process for civilian rule.
The warring parties in Sudan on Tuesday agreed on a 7-day ceasefire that will start this Thursday to pave the way for peace talks between the two factions promoted and mediated by the neighboring South Sudanese President Salva Kiir, who is also the leader of a team of the Intergovernmental Authorities on Development Assembly of the Heads of States. Sudan's Ministry of Health said the clashes between the SAF and the RSF have killed more than 500 people and left over 4,000 others wounded so far. Adebola Brooksland Sunday, NTA News.
And to legislative matters, the Niger Delta Development Commission has presented before Senate Committee on Niger Delta for scrutiny a budget proposal of 876 billion naira for the 2023 fiscal year. National Assembly correspondent Dayo Ogunshola reports.
The consolidated budget proposal has components from 2021, 2022 and the 2023 fiscal year projected to be used for completion of ongoing capital projects. Managing Director of NDDC assures the committee that part of the renewed strategies devised by the Commission is fiscal reform to regulate overhead costs.
Accordingly, only activities that are tied to measurable programs will be approved. We are confident that the benefits of forensic audit report have started bringing about efficient and effective service delivery in the Commission. From the board.
For the committee, the management of NDDC must avoid bickering with its board.
Because we would not want again this time around for the dividends development that is due to our people to be derailed because of infighting between the management and the board.
Mr. Chairman, you can use your initiative to see how you can set up a technical committee to interface directly with the Niger Delta Development Commission management, with your distinguished senators and the secretary, and to see anything we can do.
The budget proposal is the first from the current management, inaugurated in January this year. From the National Assembly, Dayo Ogunshola, NTA News.
President of the Senate, Ahmed Lawal, celebrates Nigerian journalists on the occasion of the World Press Freedom Day. In a statement by the Special Advisor to the President of the Senate on Media and Publicity, Ola Awuniyi Lawal, says journalists have made immense contributions to the socio-economic and political development of Nigeria and deserves appreciation. He explained that promoting press freedom also ensures human rights to freedom of speech and opinion, and that is why the 9th National Assembly has ensured in the past 4 years that no legislation under its purview tampers with these rights. A group known as Joint Task 10th Assembly has resolved to abide by the decision of the majority All Progressives Congress in deciding which geopolitical zone produces the next Speaker and Deputy Speaker of the House of Representatives. Chairman of the forum, Usman Bello Kumo, said this at the inauguration of the multi-partisan group in Abuja. National Assembly correspondent Vivian Idekpefo reports.
The driving force of this multi-partisan group, members say, is Nigeria's unity and the stability of the 10th House of Representatives. The group is guided by capacity and competence as members embark on the search for leaders who are ready to work for the betterment of Nigerians. Their objective is keeping to the legislative-executive balanced relationship.
As we are aware, our colleagues have declared their intent to vie for these offices. These our colleagues are members of eminent, they are qualified, they have good behavior, but rather as a group, it is on this note that I want to draw the attention of the country that for now, as we are seated here, we are not promoting any particular individual as a candidate, and we are not fighting any particular candidate as an individual.
For somebody like me who is part of the opposition, I want to assure Nigerians that there will be productive and robust opposition in the National Assembly. But we will do that in a way and manner that will add value to the Nigerian people.
The Joint Task 10th Assembly comprises 8 political parties with common interest in the next leadership of the 10th House of Representatives. From the National Assembly, Vivian Idekpefo, NTA News.
The Senate has called on security agencies to review and strengthen their surveillance across the country. National Assembly correspondent Ignatius Nkwo reports that Senate at Wednesday plenary also approved the restructuring of ways and means of 22.7 trillion naira as requested by the president.
Senator Istifanus Gyang drew the attention of the Senate to what he described as resurgence of bandits' attack in Barkin Ladi, Jos South, Riom and Mangu local government areas of Plateau State, which has caused the death of some persons in the last 2 weeks.
I would be using this opportunity to ask for the reinforcement of security and their presence in the affected communities in Plateau State.
Security situation in some parts of the country have started to deteriorate, but I think our security agencies, the military, have done very good job of improving the security situation across the country.
Senate has passed the 2023 FCT budget of 579.6 billion naira. The repeal and reenactment bill of the Explosives Act and the Nigerian Data Protection Bill were also passed. The bill that seeks to provide for strict implementation of the National Assembly recommendations on the annual Federal Audit Report, sponsored by Senator Matthew Rogide, passed second reading.
With emphasis on completion of ongoing projects in the Federal Capital Territory.
And I believe that internally generated funds should be one of the major ways that the FCT can address that challenge.
Ahead of the pronouncement of sentence by the British court in the case of Ike Ekweremadu, Senate has called on the British government to temper justice with mercy.
That since this matter was novel in the United Kingdom, that a novel approach in sentencing of the convicts be adopted by tempering justice with mercy.
We are not quarreling, but we are seeking clemency in the sentencing because this is the first time that our colleague, a patriot, a great man, a great leader, a very peaceful man is getting involved in this kind of thing.
Meanwhile, Senate has commenced investigation into alleged unremitted 6 trillion naira grant rate to the federal government. The Senate Ad Hoc Committee on the Recovery of the Funds was at the Ministry of Works and Housing on fact-finding.
They explained to us how much has been collected. So far we had close to 18 billion naira, and efforts have been made to collect the remaining ones. Within the next 2 to 3 weeks, we'll come back for an update.
This is sequel to the resolution of Senate at plenary of 29 March 2023, which constituted the committee to carry out a comprehensive investigation on the matter. From the National Assembly, Ignatius Nkwo, NTA News.
Meanwhile, the House of Representatives is set to transmit to President Muhammadu Buhari for assent the 5th Constitution Alteration Bill number 20, which seeks uniformity on the retirement age for judicial officers and pension rights. The passage is in line with the provisions of Section 9, subsection 2 of the Constitution. The House, however, urged state houses of assembly to endorse the constitutional alteration bill that seeks financial autonomy for local government councils in Nigeria. The lawmakers noted that granting autonomy at the 3rd tier is critical to achieve growth and development through good governance. And it's now time to go over to Lagos for the next set of stories on Nationwide, and Hingino is our guide. Hello, Hingino.
Just after marking International Labour Day to canvass for the welfare of workers, a segment of that group is raising awareness on the importance of press freedom. They are also reminding governments of their duty to respect and uphold freedom of expression. Adeola Komiakere takes a look at the importance of press freedom and how well it has impacted the media in Nigeria.
Yes, the historic connection established between the rights to seek, impact, and receive information for public good remains as relevant as it was when it was signed. This year's World Press Freedom Day focuses on shaping a future of rights through freedom of expression as a driver for all other human rights.
We have to work with journalists to ensure that Lagosians know what we are doing, to ensure that Lagosians are served what they deserve.
Enshrined under Article 19 of the 1948 Universal Declaration of Human Rights, free press is expected to give practitioners the upper hand to operate, seek and get information that is relevant to the general public. And although it is often said that there is no completely free press anywhere in the world, the proliferation of independent media in many countries and the rise of digital technologies have enabled free flow of information.
There should be law against those kind of news that could, bring about an unfortunate situation to the life of other people.
Lagos will not attack any press that does that. What they normally do is that they will go on investigative something to ascertain whether that information is correct or not.
Another important topic of discussion that requires attention from stakeholders as it negatively affects respect for other human rights is the brutality of journalists.
Government should ensure it secures justice for the families of those who have been, journalists who have been murdered, and even also compensate journalists who in the past were harassed.
To address these critical situations and threats, emphasis is placed on press freedom, safety of journalists, and access to information. Adeola Komiakere, NTA News.
Strengthening democratic institutions and embracing the tenets of politics without bitterness in Nigeria political space can only be achieved if politicians and their supporters see politics from the angle of development and service instead of do-or-die affair. Ruth Aria Samuel takes a look at the concept of politics without bitterness to deepen democracy in Nigeria.
Recent elections in Nigeria, particularly the 2023 general elections, left much to be desired as the political class and party supporters heated up the polity with animosity, hatred, malice, bitterness, and ethnic bias. Analysts say imbibing the phrase, politics without bitterness, is a path Nigerians must toe.
When we lose an election, we shouldn't take it as if everything is gone, and if it's not us, the country shouldn't move forward.
All of us should be able to remove that part of us, that tribalism and that ethnicity when it comes to politics.
Observers and political analysts have also suggested that if politicians of today adopt the principle of politics without bitterness, issues of political thuggery, violence, tension, needless cross-carpeting could become a thing of the past.
Once there is respect for the rule of law and all the arms of government, the judiciary, the law enforcement, the lawmakers, they are doing their jobs independently of each other, then it's impossible for anybody to manipulate one government organ and use it to oppress another.
If we can't hold our people accountable, if we don't have a minimum standard before people can play politics, then we are going to be having this kind of problem.
As the dust settles from the 2023 general elections with its challenges, politicians have been advised to embrace peace and shun actions that can deepen ethnic bias, ignite tension, as peaceful coexistence is a vital tool for national unity and development. In Lagos, Ruth Ario Samuel, NTA News.
Do not forget to follow this news broadcast live on our website at nta.ng/live and on our other social media handles displayed on your screen for updates. Time now for some messages. The news will be back shortly.
On the network service of the NTA. Welcome to JOS. We begin with security, as Chief of Army Staff Lieutenant General Farouk Yahaya has emphasized the need for officers and soldiers of the Nigerian Army to keep fit and enhance their capacity in order to tackle the security challenges in the country. This was while declaring open the Nigerian Army Interformation Combat Company Cross-Country Championship holding at the Small Arms Range, Miango and 3 Division Physical Training Ground in Jos. Salau Abrahaman Mohammed reports.
Participants here gathered are expected to compete in beam heaving, sit-up, push-up, vertical rope climbing, and step bench tests. Addressing the participants, the Chief of Army Staff, represented by Major General Adekeye, says the physical and mental well-being of officers is paramount, hence the need for the competition to prepare them to deal with security threats.
There is no gainsaying that the current operating environment is volatile, uncertain, complex, and ambiguous. As such, we have to enhance our capacity for efficient employment of all hands to achieve the desired results.
The General Officer commanding the 3 Division, represented by the Chief of Staff Headquarters 3 Division, Brigadier General David Kumi, says the exercise will make the officers and soldiers combat ready, efficient, gallant, and physically fit in line with the directives of the Chief of Army Staff to enable them tackle the security challenges effectively.
As you're all aware, security challenges we face in the nation require a high level of endurance and stamina. Hence the need for continued training of our men.
More than 200 officers are participating in the competition. From the Small Arms Range, Miango, Salau Abdurrahman Mohammed, NTA News.
Away from security to education, in view of the importance of information communication technology to the educational development of the country, teachers in Plateau State are undergoing e-learning training courtesy of the federal and state ministries of education. Mary Replong-Domtur has details.
This training is meant to equip teachers in public schools in Plateau State with the requisite skills to enable them utilize the e-learning materials in their schools.
Pass it down to our students to help them and bridge the gap between for learning and teaching, regardless of their location.
For the Plateau State Ministry of Education, these teachers will be equipped with skills that will transform the education sector.
With COVID-19 and with the use of technology now, we have come to understand that you can be in your home and you will still learn.
The Agile project made provision for schools in the state of ICT materials. You will have wondered, how are we going to practicalize this thing? Because quite now we will not have known how to operate them. But here is the opportunity.
Equip the teachers with the requisite knowledge to be able to create content so that it can be uploaded while the students are at home. They can be able to learn
Facilitator of the training says at the end of the training, teachers will be more knowledgeable on how to prepare lesson plans electronically using Microsoft PowerPoint, as well as create content and edit videos.
We will also train them on how they are going to upload these videos to this platform that we have, so that students can be able to have access to these materials remotely.
The training will last for 3 days. In Jos, Mary Replong Domtu, NTA News.
And that does it from here. Ifeoma is back to you in Abuja for more on Nationwide.
Thank you very much, Felicia. President Muhammadu Buhari has approved the termination of the appointment of Dr. Ferdinand Giadom as project coordinator of the hydrocarbon pollution remediation project, HYPREP. Consequently, President Buhari approves the appointment of Professor Nani Barini Zabi as new project coordinator of HYPREP. Professor Nani Barini is a lecturer at the Department of Fishery, Faculty of Agriculture, University of Port Harcourt. He is a renowned Ogoni expert in hydrobiology with experience and background in remediation, biomonitoring, and restoration ecology. A statement issued from the Office of the Minister of Environment, Mohammed Abdullahi, indicates that the appointment is with immediate effect. In line with federal government's policy on food security, the Nigerian Army is developing its farms and ranching to ensure food sufficiency and minimize causes of security threats. This workshop is to strengthen commitment of the Nigerian Army in the provision of viable agricultural program through active farming and ranching as part of federal government solution to the promotion of different enterprises that will diversify the economy.
Government in the federal government agricultural program and expose the Nigerian Army to agriculture and its full value chain. I approve the conduct of this poultry management workshop in order to key into the federal government policy on food security and to rekindle the effort of the Nigerian Army at providing the viable and sustainable agricultural programs.
The aim is to showcase poultry business in the Nigerian Army as one of the quick impact projects to address some of the economic challenges facing our personnel. The theme of this workshop is derived from the Chief of Army Staff vision, which is to build a professional Nigerian Army ready to accomplish assigned mission within a joint environment in the defense of Nigeria.
The program is also a non-kinetic approach to fighting insecurity and job creation for able youths. In recognition of his outstanding leadership qualities and commitment to public service for the benefit of humanity and the nation, the Director General of the NTA, Salihu Abdul Hamid Dembas, was honored with a leadership award by the Nasarawa State University Kefi. Elizabeth Omori reports that former Director General of the NTA, Professor Tony Redia, was also amongst the awardees.
Hard work and dedication to public service being recognized, and professionals of the Nigerian Television Authority are part of those raising the bar of success. It was not just a stage for encomiums, but a platform for communications and data management experts to deliberate and come up with workable solutions that can be adopted in critical sectors.
It is very, very important in terms of development and also in terms of looking at the way and manner we should grow from where we were to where we want to be. And the earlier we embrace change, the better for us in this country and of course in every business undertaking.
When you are doing strategic communication, you have a comprehensive overview of what you are dealing with. It makes citizens take ownership.
The population and housing census, most speakers insist, should focus on identified lapses in the process of policy formulation by government in order to come up with citizens-friendly initiatives.
The government will continue to canvass and welcome ideas that will maintain our upward move in developmental indices.
Putting all this together for development is what we really need to discuss and strategize if we want our nation to continue to progress.
Data enable us to have correct information, to have correct knowledge, which is then the basis for policy.
They say it is time for the government to walk the talk through reliable data for national planning. Elizabeth Omori, NTA News.
President-elect Federal Republic of Nigeria Bola Ahmed Tinubu has described developments in Rivers State under Governor Nyesom Wike as remarkable. He made the observation while speaking during the inauguration of the 12th flyover bridge constructed by the Rivers State government in Port Harcourt. Ogedi Nyekwere completes the reports.
Okuta-Rumola flyover bridge is the 12th and the last in the series of the flyover projects embarked upon by the Rivers State government at the onset of the second tenure of Governor Nyesom Wike in 2019. The president-elect Bola Ahmed Tinubu says the visit is to fulfill his promise to visit Rivers State after elections to inaugurate projects at the instance of the Governor Nyesom Wike. He knows that happiness is radiating in the state, which is a clear demonstration of the acknowledgement of the good works of the governor. He further thanks the governor for his support in the just concluded election and commends him for championing the cause of justice, equity and fairness.
Aside the construction of this flyover and my invitation to this project, to commission this project today, is another way of building bridges. We cannot be overstated.
Governor Wike says cases of abandoned projects in the country are linked to issues arising from the procurement law. He knows that Rivers State had to amend its procurement law to give the government the latitude to pay up to 70% of the contract sum, adding that it is the reason for the prompt completion of projects without variations. He appreciates the president-elect for honoring the state in coming to inaugurate projects.
With a partnership with a good federal government. Yes, partnership. We don't have the money to do it now because of so much in our hands. State. We don't want the people to suffer. We don't want people to get angry with government. Can you help us and see how you can put this road in use? Yes, we can do that. Go ahead and do it. We will refund you. That is the way it's supposed to be.
The 12th flyover bridge is 1,007 meters long and has a width of 250 meters with a median of 780 millimeters. In Port Harcourt, Ogedi Nyekwere, NTA.
President Muhammadu Buhari shares in the joy of the occasion as former Acting Director General of the Nigerian Television Authority and Executive Director News, Shola Atere, turns 66, with a remarkable history of serving 4 Nigerian leaders at the presidential villa. In a statement, President Buhari believes Atere's versatility in broadcasting and reporting, starting from 1981, paved the way for so many responsibilities at the highest level of government, and the warmth and trust he earned from the leaders opened more opportunities. Retiring in 2017 as one of the most traveled and experienced journalists with many recognitions and awards for his diligence. As Atere clocks 66, President Buhari congratulates the veteran broadcaster for mentoring many talents in the country and supervising the birth of several private broadcasting stations, encouraging excellence and high moral standards that have attracted the global spotlight to journalism in Nigeria. The president praised that Atere and his family will always enjoy God's favor of good health, strength, and wisdom. Now, in response to an editorial by Punch newspaper published over the weekend, Senior Special Assistant to the President on Media and Publicity, Garba Shehu, has responded as saying the editorial painting a bleak, pessimistic, and frequently inaccurate picture of the state of our nation and outgoing President Muhammadu Buhari's administration. Citing economic recovery, fight against insecurity and corruption, infrastructural development, including the conditional cash transfer, Survival Fund, among other initiatives of the administration across the country, have set Nigeria on course for sustainable and equitable growth. He pointed out that President Muhammadu Buhari and his strengths and his weaknesses, and applied the former and mitigated against the latter to achieve overreaching goal to leave Nigeria a better place than he found it, and in that he has succeeded. And Ibadan is our next stop on Nationwide with Larry as our guide. Hello, Larry.
Good to see you, Ifoma, and welcome to Ibadan. In line with the reformed agenda of President Muhammadu Buhari to ease collection of international passports, a new passport front office has been inaugurated in Oyo town. Minister of Interior Rauf Aregbesola, while inaugurating the office, observed that more locations for passport collection are needed in the country. Correspondent Shola Wahid has the details.
The minister observed that the demand for international passport has skyrocketed in the last 30 years, adding that the immigration service is working round the clock to ensure that passports are obtained as at when due.
Part of our challenges are sometimes waiting period can take up to 2 months. But what we have now, though we know we will increase demand. Don't even need passport in the road we apply now. We are going to upload those who are waiting in Ibadan to come here immediately.
Indigenes of Oyo community expressed gratitude to the federal government for the establishment of the front office in Oyo town, stressing that it will enhance economic development of the community.
In few weeks' time, we'll be having more than 5,000 people that will be moving to Oyo passport. If 5,000 people moving at once, you know what I mean?
Intending travelers in and around Oyo town were advised to visit the new passport front office to avoid congestion in the main office in Ibadan, the state capital. In Oyo, Shola Wahid, NTA News.
Technology is an important aspect of modern farming practices as it helps improve crop yields, reduce production costs, and increase the overall efficiency of the agricultural sector. Kayode Oladoshi reports that this was the crux at an international workshop on agricultural technology in Ibadan, the Oyo state capital.
With a mandate to promote food security, agribusiness, and technology-based agricultural production in Nigeria and indeed West Africa, ECOWAS Aviana, an international agricultural exhibition for West African states, is at it again, showcasing various modern agricultural practices for farmers through the exhibition of latest agricultural inputs.
We bring all the new practices what internationally be used to pass to the farmers so that they can also learn it.
Trying to see how we can change the mindset of people from agriculture to agribusiness.
Farming has gone beyond staying in the village, harrowing in the village, plowing in the village, planting in the village. You need to blend it with modern techniques.
Farmers across different value chains gather for another opportunity to be up to date with agricultural production, ranging from equipment and feeds for livestock, agrochemical, seeds and seedling to agricultural machinery.
When farmers were able to meet with the manufacturers of their inputs, definitely there will be more harvest because they plant more.
Seventh in the series, International Expo was aimed at expanding the value chain of agribusiness in West Africa with year 2023 theme promoting animal health and nutrition business in West Africa. In Ibadan, Kayode Oladoshu, NTA News.
Those are the trending reports from Ibadan at this hour. Nationwide continues with Ifoma in Abuja after this break. Stay with us.
Now, lessons learned from the 2023 general elections will positively shape subsequent elections in Nigeria. This was the view of election observers and political parties at a conference organized by the National Institute for Policy and Strategic Studies, NIPS, in Abuja to get reports from stakeholders on the outcome of the polls. Mie Ogidi reports.
117, 118.
The counting of the ballot ended
April 15, 2023, winners declared, some losers off to the court, and observers back to the conference hall for post-mortem.
We are aware that there are positive sides of the elections, and we're also aware of the negative sides of the elections.
Some of the best brains in election matters gathered here, courtesy of NIPS, extracting the sweet bitter taste of the 2023 polls.
The issue of collation of the results is still left unattended.
For the 2023 election, and this is our view, that technology didn't fail in the 2023 election. What failed is the human factor.
An intriguing views, conduct of credible polls is the lifeline and oxygen for democracy. But there are factors compelling democracy to a state of being in life support.
Where voters are extremely poor, democracy tends to be weak. If the political culture does not encourage participation, negotiation, bargaining, and freedom of expression, then democracy shrinks.
Lessons from the 2023 polls will form part of recommendations for INEC ahead of the 2027 general elections. Mie Ogede, NTA News.
A draft policy document on the implementation of the National Homegrown School Feeding Program has been presented by the Ministry of Humanitarian Affairs, Disaster Management and Social Development. Ruth Aguele reports that the document is to serve as a guide towards the sustainability of the program.
1 meal a day for primary school pupils who are beneficiaries of the National Homegrown School Feeding Program. With more than 9 million children enrolled under the scheme across the country, lives are daily impacted.
This program, particularly the payment system, has ensured that the NSIP emerged as one of the most effective.
The Ministry of Humanitarian Affairs, Disaster Management and Social Development giving an overview of the benefits of the school feeding program, which they say has increased enrollment of school children, provide job opportunities for cooks, engaged local farmers, among other benefits. To sustain these achievements, a draft policy document of the school feeding program is being presented to serve as guide for its sustainability.
It's practical experiences from the field put together so that we can be able to show to the world that we know how to plan, and we know how to actually take the projects to the target group very, very efficiently.
And to express the readiness of WFP to always stand with the government of Nigeria in its effort to provide nutritious meals to school children.
The policy document is expected to improve the coordination and institutional structure of the feeding program, financing, and other methodologies.
We can say confidently that this document was developed through a significantly participatory process, which we're very, very proud of.
What is left now is the final endorsement of the document, which is expected after due consultations with development partners for effective validation of the policy document. In Abuja, Ruth Aguele, NTA News.
To bridge the gap in research and development, scientists in Nigeria are advocating knowledge-based community research to harness potential for indigenous content. Elizabeth Omori reports that scientists at a forum on research and development insists that data synchronization of products and services will attract local and foreign funding.
A World Bank report shows that sub-Saharan Africa's economic growth dropped to 3.6% in 2022 from 4.1% in 2021, and this is expected to dip to 3.1% in 2023. Lingering inflation and tough financial conditions with high debts contributed to this decline. This roundtable of researchers and scientists seeks to draw up strategies for Africa to utilize existing templates to harness potential in the continent through research and development.
We open up what we call the citizen participation or citizen development platform virtually, whereby communities can actually come up with their challenges. And we are going to be connecting that
using digital transformation platform to the researchers community.
Protection of intellectual property, patency, and data management were part of issues raised.
Public sector people, academia, industry, society as a whole, represented by various community groups, must come together to decide what to do.
Research and development. They agree advance homegrown economic development. In Abuja, Elizabeth Omori, NTA News.
Nurses and midwives from the Nigeria Police Force medical facilities across the country are in Abuja receiving training on early detection and treatment of cervical cancer amongst police wives and their daughters. Francis Form reports that the training aligns with efforts to achieve 70% screening coverage for cancer eradication.
Cervical cancer is said to be the most common cancer affecting women in Nigeria and the most common cancer among women globally.
Screening without treatment is unethical.
The Nigeria Police Force is taking steps towards tackling the scourge by training 100 of its medical service providers.
The aim is to train the police personnel, healthcare personnel, on the screening strategies so that when they go back to their facilities, they will be able to start the screening services. And therefore, that way, Nigeria might be on the path to meeting the 70% target.
Like in Kebbi State Command, we have started running free cervical cancer screening for all women of all ages.
For this very time around, we will intensify our efforts to see that all police wives, their daughters of within the age of 15 are screened for cervical cancer.
That if they get back to their various facilities, they should make sure the knowledge they gathered here, they put it into practice.
Training very seriously and apply all that you will learn for the growth and development of our medical facilities and be worthy ambassadors for the fight for the eradication of cervical cancer in our barracks and the whole world entirely.
At the end of the training exercise, participants are expected to be well equipped with needed knowledge and skills. Francis from NTA News.
Golden Eaglets of Nigeria ready to overcome Morocco for quarter-final tickets, plus other sports news around the globe with Ayodeji Makinde. And that's it on Nationwide for today. We thank you for watching. Bye for now.